Welcome back to Running with Coach Tori.
And Jeff.
And we're coming to you live from the Starbucks parking lot. Not that we're live and not that anyone can see because this is audio only. But we are bringing you the running news from the week, whether it's to entertain you on your long run or to give you something to talk about with your running group. We've got you covered. So I am back in the Starbucks parking lot. We are back to during school recordings. So hopefully that means we're going to be super topical and super on time and all of that. So with that said, did you get your speed workout in this week?
I did it last night. Although I made the rookie mistake last night on the treadmill. What do you think the biggest rookie mistake to make on a treadmill is?
You didn't have anything to watch?
No, that's probably one of them, but this was one where my Oura ring was upstairs charging. So I was doing my warm up, which was just really walking 3 minutes before I start my slow jog. So I realized my Oura ring wasn't on. I jumped off the treadmill, ran upstairs to grab my Oura ring, came back down, stepped on the treadmill, but it was already moving. And I didn't realize it was moving, so I was getting on from the side. And it just sort of, I went down like hard. Like, oh, God, this is embarrassing. Thank God no one was around to see it and it wasn't at the gym. It was in my own gym. But yeah, I stepped on the treadmill while it was moving, not realizing it was moving, and it went down.
Well, and here's an insight too. So you must not wear the little safety feature like clipped to
I
your shirt, correct?
do not wear the little safety feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I do fall, it's all on me, and no one's going to know it. It's not going to shut off by itself. I'm going to get trapped on the treadmill, and that little belt is just going to whittle my skin away.
Horrible. Wow. Yeah, that was not even what I was going to guess. I was like, you didn't turn it on. You didn't bring your water. Like, I was like, what could it be? Oh no.
Yeah, your mind sort of forgets where you were. Like, once you leave a room, I think it was a study I just recently saw that one thing about memory is when you leave a room, that's why when you leave a room and go to another room to get something, often when you get to the kitchen, you're like, what am I here for?
Right.
Because the way your brain works, it's sort of like it compartmentalizes, and when it's got the memory locked into the first room you're in, when you go to the second room, it's not so associative to that same thing. So I must have done the same thing. I forgot I left the treadmill on. I got back to the garage. I had the football game on the TV. It was loud. I couldn't hear the treadmill running.
That's what I was about to say. Do you have the quietest treadmill in the world?
Nah, the football game was loud. So, because the treadmill's pretty loud, but it was on walking pace. So thank God it wasn't on like a fast pace.
Yeah.
Or I really would have gotten crushed.
Oh my gosh.
But it was walking, but it's like, you're so awkward when you step on something and your foot just gets thrown out from under you.
Yeah.
Even at a walking pace, it's just like there's nothing you can do. You lost your balance. You're like, okay, now I'm going down. So anyway, big rookie mistake.
Yeah, no injuries sustained, I guess.
No, and I did finish my workout. No, just the wrist was hurting, but not such that I'm going to be, down for the count.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So have you ever done any big rookie mistakes at the gym?
No. I mean, I'm sure I've done. The worst thing I ever did, though, it was like at a CrossFit gym, and I just feel like I wasn't the problem. It's the people in there that were the problem,
That's what everyone says.
Like, right. No, but so the only thing I can remember, and I'm sure I've done dumb stuff too, but the only thing I can remember, because like this lady was so rude about it, was she was filming her lifts, but like she was using, so in like the CrossFit gym, they have just like, poles that the weights just all stack on top of. So she like was doing like filming with her phone on top of one of the weight stacks. So when I went to go get weights, I had no idea her phone, like it was like she's on the other side of the gym, her phone's now videotaping her doing her lift, and I walk right in front of it to grab a thing, and she was so rude about it. And I'm like, I get it, but like also like there's a bunch of people in here, like no, who you didn't tell everybody, like, hey guys, I'm filming my lift, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, it's a public space too. It's like, listen, I appreciate people want to put on this stuff on social media, but it's like that's not at the expense of everybody else.
Yeah,
You can't
you didn't tell
monopolize
anybody.
the gym. Yeah, this whole angle from my phone to me is off limits to everyone. Put caution tape up. No, I don't agree with that. You want to walk by someone, walk by them.
Right. So I was just like, wow. Like, obviously, I felt really bad because she was so mean, but like, I'm like, you know what? Like, this, I don't really think is on me. Like, I'm not usually here on Saturday mornings when you're filming your lifts from like 40 feet away. Like, how am I supposed to know that? Um, so
Yeah,
yeah,
unless you're a
no,
professional athlete that owns your own gym. I mean, come on, that's
right.
ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. I'm glad you agree because yeah, that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, you can forgive yourself for that one. Don't if you have a lot of guilt in your life, that let that one go.
Yeah, no, I feel like most of the times it's been like other people, like someone was like mad. I was standing near a bench when I was lifting, but like I'm sorry, again, you don't own the public gym at the Y. Like, I can stand here and do my workout while you do yours. So that, yeah, those are the ones I can think of was like people just getting mad about like assuming this was their space and not the YMCA, you know.
Oh man.
But
Well,
no
I was
treadmill issues that I can think of. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think I've had any big mistakes at the gym that I've made. Like I've never gotten like stuck on a piece of equipment. I haven't had to yell for help on the bench or anything.
Right.
I always
Yeah,
just take it easy enough. Like I'm not lifting enough weight that I'm like, okay, this rep, I'm not sure if I can do it or not. I'm not going to chance it. I'm just putting the weight down.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Well,
no.
you're doing pretty well in your bets, by the way.
I was gonna say, do we have a bet update? Because I think from the things I saw and that I remember, I was like, I think I'm kind of on it.
You are. So let's run down the 10 bets we made. So, and to remind everyone, if you win $10. If you lose five. So right now, I think you're already locked into a positive position.
All right.
So number one, 100 meters, Noah Lyles or the field. You picked the field, and it was the field that won. We'll go through that in a couple minutes. 200 meters, Lyles or the field. You picked Lyles. That one hasn't happened yet. 1,500 meter, you had your choice of Laros and Ingebrigtsen or the field. You picked Lars and Ingebrigtsen. Ingebrigtsen is out, but Lars is still in, and he won his semifinal heat, so he still looks strong. So that was not finalized yet. Men's 5,000, you picked the USA team to get silver or gold. Hasn't happened yet. But I will say in the 10,000, the USA team got shut out. So that doesn't bode well for your 5,000 prediction, although Hocker is in this one. We'll get to Hocker in a few minutes,
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
All right. Pole vault. Will Mondo set a world record? You said yes. And Mondo did set a world record. Shocker.
Shocker.
His 14th straight world record.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy. Crazy. Again, crazy athlete. Crazy amazing. We don't cover field events on this podcast other than Mondo. All right. So then on the women's side, women's 100, you picked um, Alfred and or Melissa Jefferson Wooden or the field. You picked the two individuals, and Jefferson did win the 100 meters, so you won that one.
Okay, sorry, you cut out for a second. So for the 100 I picked, Jefferson was gonna win, right?
Yeah, Alfred and or Jefferson.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, or the field. You was your choices, and you picked Alfred and Jefferson combined, that duo, one of those two to win, and Jefferson won.
And she had like an amazing race, right?
Yeah, she was dominant. Yeah, she was out from the jump. I mean, 100 meters is not usually a huge distance, but she was a clear winner. It wasn't close.
Wow.
Um, 200 meters hasn't happened yet. That starts Wednesday. In the 400 meters, you pick Sydney McLaughlin.
Cancel him, everybody.
Yes.
How dare you?
If you get someone's name wrong, don't get hers wrong. She's looked dominant. She actually set a season leading performance in the semifinal, so she looks like a strong prediction there. In the 1,500 meter, you picked Faith Kipyegon, or the field, you picked Faith, and she did win.
Woo!
Again, dominant, more than a second from first to second, and another second to third place. So she was dominant, and that just happened a little while ago. And then you picked Nikki Hiltz to not finish in the top five, and I'm disappointed in you, not believing in the Americans. Nikki finished fifth.
I know.
Yes,
I saw it. I was
that
like,
was her
I'm the
only loss.
worst. because I'm usually
Yeah,
a
that was
Nikki
the only
fan. I'm like,
loss.
go Nikki, go. I was
Yeah, I
all
thought
about
maybe
it,
I'm
but
thinking you look strong in all these. You could win all of them. And then I did see that Nikki finished fifth. I'm like, oh, thank God, Nikki, you saved me.
yeah, darn.
Yeah, yes, that's the update. On the news front, I said, I got a couple here. I guess the world seemed to be shocked that Lyles finished third in the 100 meters. I
Why?
mean, I wasn't shocked. I mean, Seville won. Thompson was second. Two Jamaican runners. Again, shocker. Two Jamaicans winning the 100 meters. It's one of those countries that's just dominant. You surprised Lyles gets third?
Well, no, and that's why, as much as I'm not a fan, as everyone knows, um, like just thinking back to Paris, like we saw, I get that he won, but it could have been him or four other people. Were all, I mean, that photo finish was crazy. How close everything was. Um, so yeah, to me, it doesn't scream dominant performance. So yeah, I feel like any given day, it could easily have been someone else, and today was. You know,
Any given Sunday. That's what they say about the NFL.
is it?
Yep. Yeah, yeah. So it was a close one, but he looked good. Um, so Cole Hocker, I don't know if did you see this race? This is Cole Hocker getting disqualified in the semis.
No, so here's the problem. I kept seeing that headline, and for some reason, the video was never like attached to it, and so it felt like too much work to find the video.
Yeah,
I was like, I can picture what it looks like having him push through people. You know what I mean? But no, I kept seeing
yeah.
it, and everyone's
I
like,
know
"Oh
what
my
that looks
gosh!"
like.
But I did not find the video with no effort, obviously.
You froze for a second. You may have to cut that out.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, so yeah, yeah. So what it looked like was there wasn't room for him to get through two individuals who were in front of him. He was boxed in, so he may not have made the finals if he didn't make this move. But yeah, he just reached his arm in between two people and sort of gave him a little nudge. And the guy that he nudged ended up finishing like last of the group of the tight group that was there. It was a tight race, but yeah, he got a little too aggressive and it looked a little weird. And for that reason, he got DQ'd. So he is out. The Olympic gold medalist out in the 1500 meters.
It's tough though because like there is space for a little bit of like roughness in that, like that it's not uncommon in the distance events to like push a little bit. So it's just one of those things where it's so hard because it's like, how do you define what's too much? You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of times you see it's two athletes that are side by side and they're elbowing a little bit for space. This was a little different because he's behind two individuals who are side by side. So it's not the two people in front that are sort of elbowing each other. It's him reaching between them, like he took his arm, reached between the two to then create enough of body length to get through. Um, it definitely looked odd. At the time, I'm thinking, man, that doesn't seem right. Um,
No.
and then they were interviewing him afterwards, and he hadn't been DQ'd yet. And I could see the look on his face as they were saying, like, "Yeah, were you concerned that that might be like impeding another athlete?" And he's like, "I didn't think so." But you sort of see the wheels turning, and then like a few minutes later, he was DQ'd.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like, what do you do, right? Because you can't go back and be like, I shouldn't have gotten in that position. But sometimes you can't always just know that that's like where you're gonna end up. So
Yeah,
it's tough.
yeah, yeah, it's tough because I think I don't know if he would have made the finals without doing that move because he was in a spot where he could not move forward unless he did something because there were people next to him. He was on the inside a little bit, so it was really just a tight pack. It was like 8 athletes vying for 5 spots, so it really or 4 spots. It was really. I think he was out if he didn't do that move, so it was his only chance,
Uh,
and
yeah,
it didn't work out. You know who was not in the semifinals?
Ingebrigtsen.
Yeah, who
Yeah,
got knocked out in the heats, didn't even make the semis. So this is Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Probably, I mean, I know he's a 5,000 meter gold medalist, and he didn't win a medal in the Olympics in the 1500 meters, but he's probably recognized as one of the best, one of the top two or three in the 1500 meters. but he hadn't raced all outdoor season with an Achilles injury, so it was an unknown. But again, I think I saw the interview afterwards, and he even seemed like surprised. He just was like, "Yeah, I just didn't have the leg speed. I just didn't have it at the end." So I think he was not sure what his fitness was, but it didn't bode well. He's in the 5,000. We'll see how he does in that one.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was wondering if he was gonna say it was just like continued issues with an injury, or yeah, it just wasn't there fitness wise. That stinks.
Yeah, he didn't blame the injury other than the fact that he couldn't train. It wasn't like the injury still exists now. So I think it's just fitness, not being able to train. He tried to do the Diamond League finals 3 weeks ago, but their rules are you have to do one of the Diamond League events, and he didn't do any of the events, so they didn't let him in. So
Gotcha.
they stood their ground, said, Jakob, you cannot come to our event.
Rules are
Even
rules.
though, yeah, rules are rules, man. Did you see the men's marathon finish? It was a photo finish after 26.2 miles.
That probably never happens, right?
That does very rarely, if ever, happen. Certainly, I mean, it was a crazy finish. And by the way, it wasn't your typical Ethiopia and Kenya. It was Tanzania, Germany, and Italy were the three medalists. Crazy. It was like, wow, where's all the guys? I don't think the world leaders do the marathon at the world championships.
Well, and
For
that's
example, yeah,
Safan, right? That's like kind of
yeah,
what.
Stefan, yeah, perfect example. I was going to say Stefan. So I'm stealing your thunder here. Yeah, she did the Sydney marathon. They must get a bigger appearance fee. I don't know. That's something I can think of. They must get more money to do those majors than you do for the world championships, even if your contract's got some kind of bonus for world championship points.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't really think why else you would do that. Um, I guess so. I would think money would be like the motivator because it's like the course can't be that like, oh, I just really don't want to do that course. You know what I mean? So I can
Yeah, no, agreed. I can't think of any other reason other than it's they get big appearance fees um, to do those because it's she was the draw. She was the her and Iliad Kipchoge were the two brand names for that marathon. There really wasn't a whole lot of other brand names in the mix.
right.
So yeah, so if you get a chance, you can watch this. Probably a 10-minute summary of the men's marathon. The U.S. athletes, um, Clayton Young was in the lead pack up until about a couple miles to go.
Okay.
But yeah, he got 10th, but it was a pretty big pack up until a few miles. Let's see. Next on my list is Arian Knighton. I don't know if you know him, but he's a sprinter, 400-meter guy, really good athlete, and been in the mix in the Olympics, certainly in the finals. He's only 21 years old, but just got popped for
I
doping.
saw this and I didn't know who he
Yeah,
was.
yeah, he's been good. I've heard his name a few times. I was shocked that he's only 21. I've heard his name maybe the last Olympics and maybe in the trials. So I just assumed he was older than that and assumed he'd been around for a little bit of time since I've heard of him before. You know what he blamed it on?
Contaminated.
Oxtail.
What did he say?
Oxtail. He ate
No.
oxtail at a restaurant, and that contained this hormone. Because I guess this particular hormone can be used in cattle, and they supposedly did an independent test of the meat at this restaurant and identified that that same substance is in the oxtail, which he had allegedly had prior to the doping test. It feels like this is the whole burrito defense all over again.
Yeah, and also like what is the mindset of saying this excuse? Because you don't want people to think you're just like a cheater on purpose. Because either way, the outcome's the same, right? We lose trust. You're banned. Sponsors probably drop you. Like giving a weird excuse doesn't. No one's gonna be like, "Oh, okay, you didn't mean it. It's fine." You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he almost got out of it though. It
Oh,
said, well, yeah, he appealed to a tribunal, although the tribunal had cleared him of wrongdoing after he blamed meat contaminated in an oxtail dish. World Athletics and the global anti-doping body appealed to the sport's highest court, which upheld their appeals, meaning that he was still banned. Um, so this is all information coming out from his attorney. So, that they did independent tests of the meat, that they took it to this tribunal. He got overturned. I'm assuming that you can't pop a test by just eating contaminated meat. I got to believe that the levels that are in your body, there's certain thresholds where, if it's below this threshold that you don't get banned. If it's above, you do, because some of it's going to be natural. So I've got to believe that just eating an oxtail, it isn't enough hormone to then cause you to fail a drug test. I just That's what I got to believe.
right. And again, I don't have so much knowledge on that, but yeah, you'd think like because anytime you do blood work for anything, right, it's like on a sliding scale. So yeah, one time getting oxtail that has this thing in it, unless you ate that right before they did a blood draw, or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like how?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
I got yeah, I kind of feel like this is one where you must know a restaurant that serves a meat that's got this hormone in it, and that's your defense. Or you went out and tested a bunch of meat. Again, this is me saying that he did do it willingly, and that this is all just an excuse. I feel bad if it's not the case, but I can't believe that it's anything other than an excuse for, as you said, right? It's just trying to adjust the narrative a little bit. I'm not a bad guy. You're probably getting killed on social media otherwise, and you can just say it wasn't me. It was the oxtail. By the way, I saw oxtail. I'm like, who eats oxtail?
I
Why?
I've had
Why?
oxtail and it's pretty good.
You've had oxtail?
Yeah.
Well, I did find that out. I looked. I said oxtail sounds terrible. Does Who eats oxtail? And I read that it was like, oh, it's actually a very tender and delicious meat. Like, oh man. But then I looked up worst dishes, and what I saw in there was one I think you might have had. I can't remember now. It's Hakarl, Hakarl. It's in Iceland. It's basically the fermented
Oh
shark.
yeah, I threw that up. Yeah.
Okay, all right, because that was number one on the list of
Horrible.
the worst dishes by AI.
Yeah. No, horrible. I thought I was gonna die. It was the worst.
So, why don't you remind me? I wasn't sure if you had it or just turned it down.
Oh
But
no.
you actually had it.
Yeah, so it was we were at some like pub in Iceland and they were like, "Oh, we make this drink where you it's like a whatever Iceland tradition." Oh, I'm sure he was just like messing with us cuz it's disgusting. And he's like, "So you eat the fermented shark and then you take this shot." And I couldn't even get it down. I had to go to the bathroom. It was I can't even remember what it tastes like, honestly, thank God, because I just remember thinking it was so yucky and it like ruined. I couldn't eat anything else the rest of the day. I was like, I don't want to drink that shot. I have to get out of here. It was so gross. It was so nasty.
This is. I mean, first of all, why were you in a bar in Iceland? This
Uh,
was.
because I was
Was
in
it
Iceland,
CrossFit?
I guess.
Was it CrossFit?
Yeah, we went to watch it was the Reykjavik games, like, or whatever they called it. And so we went there to watch that, and then we like rode horses and we saw the hot springs and we did like a tour of the Land of Fire and Ice bus ride or something. I don't remember. But yeah, and then we went and went to a bar to eat. And like everything they serve is like potatoes and then fermented shark. And so yeah.
Yeah. So you agree it's the worst. It should be on the number one on the worst dishes in the world.
I would say for sure. Yeah. Sorry, anyone from Iceland. I really just don't like it. And I felt like the guy who gave it to us was also joking, knowing it was nasty, I think.
Yeah. Let me just see if these Americans will eat this nasty shark. Although I mean, it's a thing. They do serve it everywhere. So I mean, maybe universally, most people who aren't native there think it's disgusting.
Yeah, and I'm not like a huge fish person too, so like the texture was a little off, and then the fermenting of it was just not it.
Is it raw?
I don't know. I mean, it was fermented, so like maybe. I don't know. Honestly, it was horrible. It was so horrible. And I only like the piece I had was like this big. It was
A
so
little
small.
chunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you ordered a dish of it. It was really just came with the shot.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like a tuna steak size that I'm like now, no, it was a little tiny thing and I was like there's just no way. Horrible.
Nasty.
Yeah. But no,
All right.
oxtail's
Well,
good, but maybe I'm going to test positive for doping 4 years later unless we had oxtail. I don't know.
all right. Well, then my last item I had was the dumbest world records. So there is someone ran the 100 meters backwards in high heels
Oh my
and
God.
now has the world record. Previous world record was this individual's own world record was 20 seconds. Now it's 16 seconds running. First of all, I mean, running backwards, 100 meters, 16 seconds is pretty impressive to start with.
For sure.
In high heels, very impressive. And it's a guy. Why is a guy decide that I'm going to run in high heels backwards for a Guinness Book of World Records?
You know, part of me can like be like, yeah, I want a world record, so I will come up with something so obscure. And I don't know what it is about people's brains because not even too long ago, my husband said this. He's not a runner for everyone who doesn't know at all. And he was like, we should look up the most obscure running world records so we can do them and have a world record. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you don't run at all. Why would you want to just become a running Guinness Book of World Record person? So he would be someone doing this because, what can I think of that no one's done that I can now have a record in for no reason? So I don't
Yeah,
know what the thought is there. I would be worried more about, like, again, injury, right? Like, already running around in high heels is not always the move, but backwards now, and fast. Yeah, it's not, doesn't seem like a great idea to me.
yeah. His first attempt at his first world record was done on. There must be a game show in Spain. He's a guy from Spain. So he said it just said in the article that he did it on the game show XYZ. So where they do Guinness Book of World Records
Oh,
things. So I feel like it's like the 1970s TV here in the U.S.
yeah.
where it's like game shows, Guinness Book of World Record type attempts. Although it wasn't in the 70s, it was probably actually in the 2000s where they had those ones where they all those little games you could do, almost like 5-minute games.
Like the minute to win it stuff.
A minute to win it. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for saving me on describing what that was.
Yes, minute to win it.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got today. That's my dumbest stories and news. And World Championships are ongoing, so check out YouTube. They usually have great summaries. The 13-hour time difference is a bit of a problem, so but you can, World Athletics and/or the World Championships has a website that's great. So if you just search that, it will be one of the top two that comes up. It gives you a summary of each of the key events, goes day by day. You can see what happened and who won. But then just go to YouTube to see the either the summary if it's the marathon or the full event if it's something shorter.
Yeah, no, I do have to check some of these out. If you have Peacock, I think they usually have a something on there too, right?
Yep.
If you didn't say that.
I
Um,
didn't say Peacock, no.
oh, okay, good. I have
Peacock.
I do have a few running hot takes. Um, Again, I don't even, we're not really doing hot takes usually, but I feel like sometimes it comes up that we're like, what is happening with the running world? So here's just a few just to get your thoughts on. And these are allegedly some of the most discussed hot takes in the running community. Long training runs for marathons are an unnecessary waste of time. This is pulled from Reddit, so take that with a grain of salt. So,
That was certainly said by somebody who never finishes a marathon.
right. But I will say this. So the only reason this one, I was like, okay, we can sort of talk a little bit. I almost wanted to say disgraced long distance runner, but maybe that's not necessarily the case. But Camille Herron has often said that she skips the long run, or the long run's not always necessary. I think she wrote like a whole paper on training for ultras without doing like a crazy, crazy long run. Um, so there's something to be said, I guess, about that. As someone who has run a marathon without doing, I mean, I don't know what you're defining a long run as, but I think when I ran that Delaware Marathon, my longest run had been like 12 and a half miles, and it was a mistake. It was a huge mistake to do that way. It was horrible.
Yeah, I
So,
think,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's a terrible take from a standpoint of I think you if you want to have a good performance, then I think you definitely need to have long runs. I'm not saying that there aren't people that can go out, do it on an average pace, do an easy type run, and just survive the 26 miles. I think that's possible.
Hmm.
Um, but most people, when they're going, they're trying to get their best time. I mean, if it's not their first marathon, I think they're trying to improve on their prior performance. So I think if you want to get your best performance, you do need to have time under tension. You do need to be on your legs for those 20-mile run. I don't think you need a dozen of them.
Right.
You need one or two. I mean, you're a coach. You would say, right? Your programs for marathoners. I'm sure you don't have one that says, "Oh, if you don't like long runs, here's a program that will get you through."
Right. Yeah, no. And I mostly do like beginner marathoners because, yeah, like you said, there are people who will be doing more of those big volume long runs. A lot of my people are building up to that long run, and then once we get there, you're tapering back down pretty much. And the most thing I will do is in the building process up to that 20 or 21 miler usually. If there are, some people have travel or whatever kind of constraints, we can occasionally accommodate for some of like the 16-mile, 18, whatever it is, like another one up into that 20 miler, of breaking it apart into like a 2-day kind of run where you're doing a faster run and then your long run again. So to try to like stack those miles. But yeah, most of the time, yeah, you should be running. I think you should be running that long run, even if I don't do it that way. So yes, that is a running hot take. Um, Another one. On a run, I don't look at average pace, heart rate, or times. I just run. If I feel good, I go quicker. If I don't, I go slower. Thoughts on that?
I'd say that's fantastic. That if you can do that, great. I will say that if you want to be your best, you should go out on your run with some intention. Meaning, when you have a program, right? It's like this is a speed day, this is a threshold day, this is you want to run it at marathon pace. So I think there's reasons people do those runs, and it's to get their best performance, improve their VO2 max, make their next 10K the best it can be. So I think you need to know some idea that, okay, this is a hard run and therefore I should be at a good pace, and I am at that pace. But again, if you're lucky enough, and if you're certainly a weekend runner or weekday runner that just out for the fitness of it, that's fantastic. Just go run how you feel, and that's fantastic. I think that's if you could do that, um, you're that's a superpower. That's great.
No, agreed for the most part, right? Like it also depends on your goals. What are you actually trying to work towards? What is the goal of your run? Because I do think people get really stuck in the weeds on like the obsession with their metrics, like day by day, how are things going? But yeah, if you have a goal of something or you're trying to achieve a certain pace, distance, whatever it is, and you're like, well, I just kind of go off how I feel. There can be some issue with that if you don't have great like pain tolerance or discomfort tolerance too. You're like, well, it says easy run. This doesn't feel so easy, even though it's the pace that I'm supposed to be going. So I'm just gonna walk or whatever. There's definitely something to that as well. But yeah, I can't imagine this really was a hot take. This is also from Reddit, so I don't
Yeah.
know. Some debate must have been happening. Let's see. And then we'll do one more. Um, Training volume should build instead of scheduled recovery weeks. What are your thoughts on that?
Training should build. Yeah, I'm trying to follow it. So they suggesting that
So
you
like a
shouldn't have a week where you taper back.
right.
Uh,
So like a lot of programs are like on a 4 week rotation or something like that, where you're building, and then there's the fourth week you have maybe it's a shorter long run, easier speed or something like that, or no speed or whatever. Or we're just continuing to go up, 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 up.
yeah, I've seen a number of those programs, and some of the ones I had downloaded way back when were the same way. And I think it's nice to have a week where you either mentally or physically get a little bit of a break, because it can be a long, sometimes 12 to 20 week grind preparing for a marathon. So I think those are built in for a reason. So I'm going to say that the all these programs you get, they're built off of people's experiences, and a lot of times it's the professional athletes' experiences and what they do. So I'd say there's probably some wisdom in the cutback week to sort of save your body, save your mind a little bit on the drain and the drag of the 20-week program. That's my thoughts. Is that I think you does it is it needed? Do you have to have it? No, a lot of people probably don't need it, but I'd say the majority probably do.
Agreed, right? And I also think a lot of us who had been running without a plan, or just like we knew enough about running or ourselves that we just like never talked to a coach or never read books or whatever, like oftentimes we're going to steer towards like just continuing to do more and more and more and more because no one told us otherwise, and we can do it. But yeah, I think once you know more about like how your body's working, muscle recovery, all those kinds of things, like you are going to steer more towards having some kind of like cutback type of thing, or like the rest days and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I was kind of surprised that there was not more, at least while scouring the internet, more running hot takes I could find that were like universal to some extent. So if anybody has any, please comment them, because I feel like there's got to be more out there, and maybe I'm just like not a hot take person and I don't know of any. But yeah, I would love to hear more hot takes.
Sounds good.
All right, and then we're gonna finish. How many days are left? Did you say how many days are left of Worlds?
Let's see, 9-day program, and I think we're day 4 into it, so we got 5 more days.
Halfway there. All right. But next week we will report back with all the final results, and hopefully have more hot takes to chat about. Wow, and I lost my voice. Everyone be prepared. I'm going to be sick in the next couple weeks because school started, so just anticipate nasally sounds for the next however long. Rate, review, subscribe, share with a friend, your running group, all the things, and we'll see you next week.